Thoughts from Your Boy podcast is bringing you with the help of my friend Starr. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Justice, bringing to you live on Thoughts from Your Boy podcast. I got a new guest for y'all. We trying to help other aspiring influencers and YouTubers and personalities to shine. This is
Starr.
all right.
Cheryl Starr.
So Starr is an older friend of mine. We've been friends for countless years. She wants to bring to you today her perspective of depression and how it made her feel and what she attributed to and things like that to help someone else who could be going through the same situation into a better situation.
Yeah, thank you so much
No
for
problem.
having me on your show,
No
first and
problem.
foremost. So, by the way, guys, I hope this information will be helpful, but please follow Ken. Please follow him.
Hit that like button,
Lot of
subscribe,
great-
notify, all
absolutely,
that.
a lot of great information there. And keep on doing it for our Alabamians, right? So this is actually an extension to what has already been talked about as it relates to
Just start over.
to depression. But one of the things is that I'm a person who can share my personal experiences of not just having depression, but the levels of things that led me there, and how I was able to and continuing to sort of rise myself or pull myself up out of that funk. I can
Okay.
tell you right now, support is not only needed but necessary for your
Yes.
healing. So many things that can cause people to become depressed. You know, for young, it could be peer pressure. For old, it could be the pressure of being old. So there's many reasons why people become depressed. But the thing is that a lot of people don't recognize the difference between when it's a symptom and when it's the actual issue itself. I think for a very long time, when I was going through my depression, I was snappy all the time. I was, aggravated.
You just weren't in a good mood.
And antsy. Absolutely. I was going through all of those things. And the sad part about it was people didn't know how to help me because they didn't actually know what it was. So what they did was they just thought, oh, you're having a bad day, stop crying. How do you do that when you don't even know why you're crying to begin with?
Right.
Or you're just talking about all of the bad things. I'm not talking about all of the bad things. I'm just not able to identify why those things were actually happening to me. So people that are depressed, they know they're depressed. But not many people tap you on the shoulder and say, you know what, hey, this isn't you. This is not, what's on your mind? You want to talk about it? Absolutely, and when those things weren't happening with me, to my loved ones, my symptoms were more of a character flaw than it was a mental issue.
I think my audience can relate to that for the simple fact that, like I said, when I was going through what I went through, before I found out I needed medicine, I thought I was just an asshole. So yeah, they can relate to that.
So, when I went to the doctor, just sort of not knowing myself, I just felt like I was in the Matrix. I really did, or living in a sort of an assimilation. But I was not, because I didn't know. If you don't know, you don't know. But guys, please, for your own sake, get to a doctor. Don't keep things in. Find somebody that you can trust. It doesn't have to be your peers. It could be an older person. And to the older people, don't discredit what the younger people can actually bring to the table, because a lot of young people are brighter than we were, say, back in our day.
Right.
So, If you have it in you to be a blessing, just by sharing your story can be the difference in a person's life or death situation.
It can.
But I will say to you, do not disregard when you see symptoms. Please understand that the symptoms are not always the problem. The symptoms are the cry out that there is a problem and that I
some
need
people
help.
don't recognize the symptoms. So what would some of the symptoms of depression be?
Not being heard, not being
symptom?
taken seriously when you're not even sure what's going on, sleeping
Okay.
a lot,
Or not sleeping at all.
constant fatigue,
Okay.
medicating, over medicating. All of those are symptoms, but they're not necessarily the issue. They can become an issue if
Right.
the issue is not resolved. But please know that most people identifying with, sleeping a lot, gaining weight, losing weight, eating too much, not eating enough, those are all symptoms of the real issue.
Okay.
So me being I was placed in the hospital for 3 weeks. Yes, guys, a psychiatric ward, and it saved my life. I have no shame at all that is where I needed to be. I lost my ability to talk, and so my family that would come and see me at the hospital thought that it was a game for a minute. I couldn't speak. Every time I tried to speak, I would tremble so bad.
So what
voice.
caused this? Was it a sudden urge of depression, or was it long lasting?
It was gradual.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you something. To a person who has a issue with being clinically depressed, but not yet classified as a clinical depressant, will not recognize it as that. It will translate to your loved ones as, why are you arguing so much? Why aren't you getting up? Why are you, not doing the things? What is going on with you? You're just being lazy. You just don't want to work. And I'm saying that to a person who is depressed and doesn't understand that depression is not limited to relationships. It's not limited to having a bunch of kids. It's not limited.
So what you're saying is it's not limited to just certain people. Anybody can get it.
Anybody can get it.
You can get it. You can get it. Everybody can get it.
And let me give you a nugget, because I'm telling you, they don't want to tell you this, or they haven't told a lot of people this. I had to learn this, and this is why I'm able to share it with you. Your symptoms can be a clinical reason. For me, my brain had slowed down significantly to producing serotonin. Now let me tell you, serotonin is that liquid in the top of your brain that makes you feel normal, just
happy.
A normal thing. Do you remember how a long time ago there used to be a little thing that people used to say, you got water on the brain. You got water on the brain.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys, they don't know this, that's a real thing. That water on your brain, that little soft spot that mommy says, don't mash on that when there is a newborn baby, that soft spot will eventually close up and perform, and shelter that liquid, that part of the brain. Let me tell you, that is what it's doing. It is protecting serotonin. So it is a real thing that there is water on the brain, or liquid on the brain. I'm not going to say water, but definitely there's liquid on the brain. After I was in the hospital, I was there in the psychiatric ward for 3 weeks, and we can get into that later, if you guys have any questions. But listen, the experience there was like living on the outside, but on the inside, because it had beds, it had a outdoor basketball
We didn't have
It actually even had a smoking area. It had tables, picnic tables. Listen, guys, and by the way, they also had gates that went about 15 feet. You could not climb over the gate. And the psychiatric ward was at the top of the hospital. It was at the top of the hospital. It's so, I cannot wait to share with you the simple, helpful things and tips that would carry me for the rest of my life.
By all means, please share.
Yeah. When you're depressed, you lose sight of a part of yourself. But when you start regaining a sense of self, it's almost like you're meeting a new person for the first time. In those 3 weeks, I learned how to identify when something was going on in my personal life versus when it was a medical field.
Okay.
I was taught how to shift my focus. And by the way, shifting your focus doesn't necessarily stop the issues that you're dealing with.
Okay.
But what shifting your focus will do is give you another perspective.
So these tips that you're about to give, or continue to give, are not preventive measurements. They're accepting and living with measurements.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think there's a way you can prevent being depressed. I mean, and let me say this: it's depression and being depressed. Being depressed is when things don't go your way. You don't have no money. You're just not feeling like you. You can snap out of that. Being depression is a state that you can't just snap out of. So, please continue.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. You were just saying that you don't think that there is a way to cure depression.
I mean, not cure it, but like you can't prevent it from happening. That's what I said. Because you could take medicine to treat it. It's an illness. Any illness can be treated. Some illnesses are treated with plants and vegetables. Some illnesses need medicine. Some illnesses need physical exertion. It's just a treatment. Like, it's a treatment.
Okay, it's just a treatment.
Yeah, it's a treatment.
Okay, so how I feel in regard to that, depression to me is your body's way of trying to get you to pay attention to what you've not been doing for it. Not going to, for an example, not going to a doctor will not make the problem go away.
Right.
You know, it will not make the problem go away. You can prevent depression, but then this is why this is good.
Okay.
It's not, you cannot stop what's going on in the world.
True.
But you can control
what's going on
to your world. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
We accept more and we allow more than what we believe in.
Okay.
We allow it more than what we believe in it. And I think that we're people that are depressed. We have a tendency to go along to get along. You know, if we will try to see it from the other person's perspective, but deep down inside, it's a challenge for us.
I don't think most people can see things from other people's perspectives.
Let me just tell you, if you watch the news and you are drawn to what's happening in Israel, you're drawn to somebody getting killed on Facebook, you're putting yourself in the room with the opportunity to focus on it for a
Okay.
while.
Okay.
You put yourself in there. I mean, you know, you cannot control what's happening around you, but you can control how you operate based on what's going on around you, how you operate. You don't have to let the problem educate you. And instead of being fearful of the problem or talk about the problem, there's not enough talking about the cure. There's not enough talking or saying, listen, you're depressed, I understand you.
Okay.
What's going on with you? Do you want to talk about it? You know, I'm saying that these are tips that you can do to not only help other people, but you have to have that talk with yourself. Like, what's up with you, girl?
So
You know,
let's hear some of these tips.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, every morning I will start off, a lot of times I start off with affirmations. And one of those affirmations is, I am not what happened to me yesterday.
So you're trying to trick your mind to believe.
It's not a trick. It is a reality.
Okay.
I am not what happened to me yesterday.
Okay.
I'm not. Today I get to choose to work on me again. I get to revisit yesterday.
Okay.
And I get to implement ways that I can do it better. But I don't have to live with yesterday on my back for the rest of my life.
True.
So I think that it is very important that you stay present when you're a person that deals with clinical depression. You have to stay present. You have to be around people that like-minded people. Listen, I'm searching too. I don't have all the answers, and that's why I'm so glad that I'm here, because you know, there's other people out there that can share a portion of their perspective as well.
I have a question.
Sure.
What is the difference between manic depressive and clinical depression?
Okay. So clinical depression is, again, what I have. And that was my brain stopped producing a liquid called serotonin.
Okay.
Here's the thing. The medicine that I'm on is called meperidine. It's one capsule, it's soluble. So you put it under your tongue at night and it just dissolves.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's easy peasy, not a problem. Here's the thing. It does not give you serotonin. The pills don't give you, they don't produce the serotonin. That's just God's little thing that he's got going on. What it does do, and what it was explained to me, is that the medicine, meperidine, actually tricks your brain. It is a medicine to trick your brain or alter something alter the chemical thing that's going on. It tricks it into producing it on its own. And it's just God's way, you know. But that's what it did. It didn't give me the medicine. It tricked my brain into producing it. And so after a period of time, I started to feel normal again. Everything just felt like, and then when I started having moments of clarity, I was like, wow, man, you know, and just sort of looking back at my depressed self, I started realizing that it was, you know, but we were talking about what is the difference between clinical and depression and manic.
Manic depression.
So clinical depression has more to do with chemical imbalances going on in your brain, whereas a manic depression is it's still the same thing. It's not
enough serotonin.
there's not enough serotonin in your brain. It's also has a lot to do with your environment. Because people don't realize they can become victims of their environment. It has to do with people that you surround yourself with. It has to do with people extracting from you, mentally draining you. When you're a person who deals with depression, trust me, draining people with mental illness, draining them of their resources is not going to be a good thing. Because people that are depressed, we have to pay attention to ourselves daily and what we're feeling and how we're feeling. And other people may not get that, you know. Oh, well, what's going on? Is it this? Is it that? Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it is just that chemical in your brain. And then what happens is the chemical, the lack of it producing itself will make everything else that you're going through magnified. it just makes it even bigger. But the hope is that if you never get to a doctor to find out or at least rule out depression, you're never going to get the help. That's what creates a manic depressive person. But I'm here to tell you, mental illness is real, nothing to be ashamed of. As a matter of fact, that is how you love yourself. That is how you fight for yourself, and my hope is that with the great work that Ken is doing here, that this will allow other people going through similar situations to say, listen, I need to reach out. Is there another way that I can even meet out? I'm a new channel, you guys, but the good news is that I desperately want the opportunity to sit down and talk with people. And by the way, all conversations are not going to be geared towards depression. And my podcast is called Street College 101. I love that title because you become the scholar in the room. That's who I'm looking for. You will be the scholar in the room. Because there's just so much a book can teach you, and the rest is life and its experiences and how you show up in the world. So please feel free to jump on board with Ken and myself and our journey with depression and just helping one another find our way to loving ourselves again and to realizing that we are worth it. We are worth it. You're worth it. We're worth it. So, hopefully, please, comment, like, subscribe, and get back to us. If
I
you
keep
want
y'all
more,
posted when she starts dropping street.
And if you want more
101.
content like this with Ken and I, say the word. Give us some of your ideas and things that you would love to hear us chat about.
So with that being said, I'm still your host.
Hey.
Just this world.
Yeah.
Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.
Bye.